Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Season 1 of the podcast Society and Stuff with your host, Joseph Eisman. The musical introduction of this podcast is brought to you by Blue Dot Sessions. The name of the song is Celestial Navigation, a really great piece of music that I think fit the mode for this podcast. Before I start presenting this episode, the guest, and the topic, I have some information regarding the future of this podcast. As you may have seen on social media and on the site, josepheisman.com, I have had other projects. That is why the podcast has been on a break for 3 years and 2 months, to be more specific. From releasing my debut single on every music streaming platform, becoming the president of the Rotary Club Stockholm Global City, to becoming a board member of the National Association Autism Sweden. Yes, it is all true. In summer year 2023, I became one of the many ambassadors for the association Hjärnkoll. Hjärnkoll works to counter prejudice, spread knowledge and awareness about mental illness. I spread awareness by giving speeches about my own story about my autism, dyscalculia, and homosexuality. In autumn during the same year, 2023, I released my debut single, Goran Vesnich, that you can listen to on every music streaming platform. In spring, year 2024, I became one of the board members for the National Association Autism Sweden, Autism Sverige. In summer, during the same year, 2024, I became the president of the Rotary Club Stockholm Global City for a year and is now the president again for another Rotary year. Last but not least, in spring this year, 2025, I also became one of the ordinary board members for the association Stockholm Pride. The reason for that is because the voices of individuals within the autism spectrum that also are within the LGBTQIA+ community also need to get heard. Usually, the normative perspective of people within the LGBTQIA+ community are the ones getting more space. But enough about me. Regarding the podcast, there will be some changes and I have brand new information. Before, you could as a listener vote and or comment the topic you wanted for discussion. Now, the topics will be planned in advance. The reason for that is because the distributor where the podcast is hosted at has made changes in their service. But also due to lack of interest, I think that you listeners will be much more interested if the topics for the episodes are planned in advance. Before, the podcast had music plus talk episodes, but due to the service changes with the distributor where the podcast is hosted at, that will also no longer be available. Drum roll for the brand new information that I'm about to reveal. There will be another season of the podcast Society and Stuff, which means that this will be the 7th and very last episode of Season 1 before the start of Season 2. Yes, you heard correct. There will be a Season 2 of the podcast Society and Stuff starting as soon as possible. So make sure to keep yourself updated on social media and stay tuned. You can also follow the Instagram profile at Society and Stuff with Joseph Eisman. The topic of this 7th, counting with the bonus episodes, and very last episode of Season 1 is about fashion. Remember the voting session from the previous episode when it landed on an equal result between authorship and fashion. So I thought, why not do both? That is why I have a guest. This time, an international one, all the way from Ames, Iowa, in the States. She is a doctor of philosophy. For 35 years, she has taught over 300 classes in fashion, textile design, women's studies, and event management at the university level. In year 2023, she founded Innovation Insights LLC, a consulting business that transforms career journeys through the art of storytelling. You can visit the site www.innovation-and-insights.com. There is a link in description. Their offerings include consulting services, a blog, a podcast, a retail store, webinars, and workshops to empower academics and industry professionals to establish a solid personal brand at any stage of their careers. I say welcome to Eulanda Sanders. Hello, Eulanda. How are you?
I'm great, Joseph. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
And I am happy that you are here. It is an honor having an international guest for the very first time in the podcast, I might add. So it's a great pleasure.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's appreciative. So when we have this recording session, it is in the early morning for you guys there in the States, in Iowa. It's past 9 a.m.
Yes, it's 9 a.m., which isn't too bad. That's not too bad.
Now, when recording from Sweden, it's 4 p.m. So how does it feel having a recording session in the early morning? Have you had one before? I'm thinking since you run your own podcast.
Yes. Oh, yes. I've had some 7 a.m. ones.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
So. Do you even have time to open up your eyes then?
They're barely open. Oh, barely.
Wow. Yeah. Now, since you run your own podcast, I'm thinking you also interview others from different countries or different sides of the world, right?
Well, I haven't had as many people yet as I would like to. I'd love to have more international guests. Mm-hmm. I had one guest that is in Canada and who's a faculty member that works in the area of innovation. A guest that's in the fashion area that I'm trying to get scheduled. She is in the UK, and so we're working on getting that podcast scheduled. But I would love to have more international guests. Absolutely. I might ask you to be on. Yeah.
You might ask me.
Yes, I would love to ask you.
Yeah. And I would love to be a part of your podcast. Definitely. Great. It would be a great pleasure. Absolutely. Great. Another question that I have on the top of my mind is how is the current situation in the US with the presidency and the ongoing situations going on there? How are the people there right now?
I would say there's a lot of confusion. There's stress. There is stress and uncertainty about, what the future looks like. It's challenging times. I will say that. And it'll be interesting to see because we're only 6 months into this presidency. So we will see.
I do read the news and what the social media says. And I mean, I'm an outsider, but we hear a lot in Sweden as well, or we do see and hear some stories in Sweden as well that the news are spreading and that the media is spreading. We do have our fair share of challenges in Sweden as well, I would say. I mean, it's all about leading the people into the right direction, I would say. I do not know about you. Maybe you can agree with that.
Well,
we have, I mean, as I mentioned, we also have our fair share of struggles with today's leading political parties, leading politicians that they do not listen to anybody but themselves, or they live in their own bubble. I think that there are plenty of countries that they do have that problem right now. We have plenty of countries that I can mention just on the top of my hand that, it's all about leading your people into the right direction, listening, because these are human beings.
Absolutely. Listening and making sure that there's fairness and that people are supported too. And, a big aspect of what's happening in the U.S. is that I think there are groups of individuals that feel like they aren't being heard or listened to or being treated fairly. And that's always been a challenge in the U.S., but it seems to be a bit more these days. And so it's challenging times. It really, really is.
Yeah, I understand. Now it's interesting thinking I'm going to ask someone who does live in the States so I get some inside scoop on what is going on, Yeah. Well, it's struggling times for everyone in some sort of way. So if we move on, if we stick to the topic of this episode, which is not politics, not yet, of what I know of.
Actually, it can be political, though.
It can be. It can be. Yeah. If you need to make a statement, I'm thinking that matter. It can be. Yeah. So I have a couple of questions that I'm going to ask during this discussion, this interview. But before we begin with the ongoing questions, I'm thinking maybe we can start with a bit of an introduction. If you could tell about yourself. Who is Eulanda Sanders?
Okay. That's a big question. Well, who is Eulanda Sanders? I am a daughter. I am a caregiver to my 81-and-a-half-year-old mother who lives with me. And so I get to spend each day with her, and I'm so thankful for that. So that is the first role that I am, and the most important one. I'm also a sister. So I have an older brother and a younger sister. Being a sister to them is important. And I'm also an aunt. I have, I guess 4 nephews now because my niece got married. So I have four nephews. And
was this recently?
About a year ago, almost a year ago, she got married. Yeah. And so I have a niece and 4 nephews and then a great niece. Family's important. My dad is no longer with us. He passed away several years ago. And
sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So that's, a big family is a huge part of my life. I'm also an administrator at Iowa State University. And so I work in the area of innovation and entrepreneurship. And I also work with graduate students, helping them learn how to be researchers and to research in the areas of fashion and apparel and textiles and culture and hospitality and event management and things like that. So that's one area. And then I'm also a business owner. I have a couple businesses. So you mentioned Innovation Insights. That's my newest business. Prior to that, I've had Yosan Studio because I do have a design background. I have been a practicing designer in some parts of my life during the many lives that I've had. With Innovation Insights, though, really working with people telling their story. I feel that sometimes we don't get the opportunity to tell our own story. I've had other people make up stories about me and tell them. Sometimes they were not true or,
wow.
And sometimes, not flattering or authentic. So I thought, I think a lot of other people are probably having this happen too. And so why don't I start the podcast so that I can help people tell their stories and then also Innovation Insights to help help people tell their stories and manage their career that way. So telling it, if it's via social media, if it's a resume, if it's a dossier, it's a portfolio. How do you tell your story through that and do it in an innovative and creative way too? So, so that's about me. I live in Ames, Iowa, but I was born in Colorado, born in Denver, Colorado, but then raised in the southeastern part of Colorado. So right down there in the corner. So if your guests have heard of the Dust Bowl that happened in the United States during the 1930s and 40s. I grew up in that era, so very dry, arid climate. People think of Colorado oftentimes and they think of mountains and skiing, but half of the state is flat and farmland. And so I grew up.
What was it called? You said
the Dust Bowl.
Oh, yeah. The Dust Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. It happened during the Depression in the United States, and it was basically so much wind and dust that people's houses were covered in dirt, basically, from being blown in. And there was many respiratory problems because people couldn't breathe because the air was just so filled that you couldn't even see at one point. Now, when I grew up, it wasn't like that, but definitely an arid, really dry climate, farming community, ranching community area where I grew up. So a lot of wheat, alfalfa. My dad was in agriculture. He worked for the United States Department of Agriculture and made loans to farmers. So I did not live on a farm, but I heard about farming and agriculture all the time, which also relates to the fashion industry because many ag products are used within fashion to make textiles. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that's pretty much Eulanda.
Yeah, well, it's an inspiring story, and I don't think that maybe they will hear about. Well, it's an international podcast, so of course some will know about the Dust Bowl, and some will not know about it. But maybe for the Swedes or other, maybe it will be a first time, But
it might be.
Yeah, it's always interesting with history, depending which country it is from. Always,
it is
definitely. I do not know if you probably answered the very first question that I'm then gonna ask you. Maybe you did not, but we'll see. I'm gonna ask you the very first question. So here it is. So what made you choose to work within fashion?
Well, I started sewing when I was around 8 years old. And the reason was because my mother sewed. She made my clothes. She was a beautiful seamstress, just gorgeous clothing. So she would make a mother-daughter outfits for us. So we'd have matching clothes. And I used to watch her sew, and I probably drove her crazy because I was like hanging over, watching what she was doing all the time. And so she started, showing me how to sew. And then I was also decided to join a youth organization that we have in the United States that's called 4-H, and that's 4 and H. And there's projects in that. And I took projects that were related to fashion. Some of them, I had food science ones too, but I also took a lot of fashion. And so sewing projects, knitting and crocheting. So I learned all of that. And again, my mother, she sewed, she crocheted. My great-grandmother sewed and crocheted, and so did my grandmother. But my great-grandmother really taught my mom a lot when my mom was young. And so she taught it to me, and then I learned and started sewing. And then I came a point where my mom was making all of these great clothes for me, and I wasn't probably as appreciative as I should have been. I wasn't. And I wanted to look like everyone else. And everyone else at school was wearing denim. They were wearing jeans and t-shirts, and I had these like beautifully tailored dresses and clothes. And I was like, Mom, I want to look like everyone else, basically. Could you just give me some jeans, and I want a denim jacket and a t-shirt. So, getting ready for back to school. I remember that year she I was just like, okay, so she got me those. And being a young child, probably about 2 or 3 months later, I was like, oh, I really want some other fashionable clothes. Could you give me some other things? Because, and she was like, no. I'm like, oh. And she goes, if you want some other things, you can make them. You can sew them. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was probably about 9 years old at this point. And so I remember getting ready to go on family vacation. And so I was wanting to look stylish. And so I made myself some little sundresses and little rompers and things like that. And that was really the beginning. And after that, she kind of really quit buying me clothes for the most part and buying me fabric, that I could get fabric, and I just started sewing and making most of my clothes that I wore for the majority of my life until I graduated from undergrad. Even, when I was in college, I made most of the clothes that I wore too, because I wanted different clothes. So.
That's nice that it's a, family generation. When you started with fashion, that it runs from generation to generation, and that you remember it since from your childhood. That's something it's inspiring and it's touching. Definitely. I think the listeners will definitely agree.
Thank you.
No, it's a nice story, and wow, you were ready to take on the world with stylish dresses and ready from an early age, 9.
Well, again, remember, I was in southeastern Colorado in a rural farming community. We traveled quite a bit as a child. And I'm sure that my classmates are probably like, okay, there's Eulanda again in one of her different outfits. And yeah.
Well, I mean, you had a catwalk.
Yeah, the hallways of my high school. I actually did model in fashion shows through the youth organizations that I was involved in, and then in college I was involved with fashion shows because all my degrees are fashion and textile related, and so I did end up in a lot of different fashion shows and things, and I've had work designs in fashion shows and things around the world. So
wow. You've done pretty much, I would say. Yeah, maybe there is more to come. Who knows? You will be on big screen, wide screens, and everyone will be hearing of Eulanda Sanders.
Oh, I don't know. My students, many of my former students, they're the ones that are really, and that's really the important thing, is that, I was able to work with students, support them, help them meet their dreams within, the fashion industry. And so they have been on, I've had some students that have done very, very well within the industry. So that's been the fun part.
That's nice to hear. When working with students, you probably see and hear different types of trends that is circulating in the social media in the world, and magazines. They tell you this and that, and you need to look like this and that, and eat this or that. It's the same issue here in Sweden as well. So there is always a standard for how it should be in the fashion industry. I mean, according to these leading people in the industry. And so if we move on to the next question, what do you think about today's trends?
Joseph, I've been around a long time. I'm 58 years old. And so today's trends, I've seen them over and over and over. And that's the nice thing about fashion, is that it comes back around. It's very circular. And so there's not a whole lot of new happening in fashion. There's changes, there's tweaks. What I do appreciate today is that people are more accepting of a variety of fashion. I mean, I remember growing up, at one point it's like, okay, now pencil skirts are it. Okay, now maxi skirts are it. Yeah. Now, people don't care. I mean, they're wearing, and then the fashion industry, talking about politics, listening to people, the fashion industry is listening more. And, the consumer is the one that really does decide what is going to be fashionable. I mean, a designer can sit at their design table in their studio and come up with ideas. But if the consumers don't like it, then it doesn't matter. It's not going to be fashionable. It's not going to be accepted. So.
No, you got that right, and it's. I mean, we see it also in Sweden on TV, on social media, on magazines, and there is a standard that these leading figures, leading people of the industry, they really want to sell that standard, But you have to look from it from a realistic point of view. Many things are circulating.
Well, I mean, consumers push back. And so you can say that, we only want to sell to this type of person, but also the fashion industry wants to make money.
Yeah.
It is a business. And so if you narrow it down to, I only want to sell to 22-year-olds who are, a size 0 that have, a 6-figure salary, there's not a lot of them in the world to maintain the whole fashion industry and all the people. Because fashion, the fashion industry, even with all the technology, it is still very labor intensive. It takes people's hands to make clothing, for the most part. And so to keep that industry going, you can't just have that narrow niche that like, oh, this is who I want to design for, and that's it.
You mentioned there about the size 0s. That's that's the common.
I know. And, when presenting clothes, of course, yeah, I mean, they look fabulous on models that are extremely thin, but they also look fabulous on models that are a variety of other sizes too. And, and that's what I have really appreciated over the years, is to see that change. I remember having some students that were involved with some industry fashion shows and having to really have some tough conversations with the organizers of the fashion show, because they only wanted models that were a certain size, and the students were designing for, I think, like a size 12, which now that's kind of like a mid-range size. And so, but at that time, size 12 was considered plus size, which is kind of ridiculous. And so they were getting tons of pushback from the coordinators. And I remember stepping in, trying to help navigate that with the coordinators of the shows.
Yeah. Yeah, well, trends come and go.
They do.
Yeah.
And then they come back again.
Yes.
And again.
Yes. What I see nowadays, like individuals, they want to bring back how things were before, with fashion, with quality, with the type of textile. In the early years, if we say, well, I'm a millennial, so I've not been around the block for many years, but for quite some years. So I have seen a lot of, it has been all about fast fashion, how to produce clothes. The quicker you produce more clothes and the more you sell, the better, no matter if it's with or without quality, doesn't matter. It can be cheap stores clothing stores who sell these, but it can also be expensive clothing stores who sell these.
Yeah.
A common textile they use that are often being used is this viscose,
Yes, it's a rayon. Viscose, yes. It's a regenerated. Yeah. And it's a man-made regenerated, yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like everyone is using that viscose, everyone is using it, no matter what brand, if it's cheap or if it's a brand that, says quality. And they seem to be putting it they seem to be also blending it with other mixtures in the clothes, and so it's well, but I'm all for the quality clothing.
Yeah, I am too. And you're right on and spot on with, the use of viscose. And, sometimes we'll see, it used to be called rayon back in the day. But I think they've tried to rebrand it. It is definitely man-made, so it can be produced at a faster not quality, but faster quantity than, natural fibers, which sometimes are more sustainable, sometimes not, but sometimes the quality, the feel, the way the fabrics look and the garments look when made out of natural fibers, they just have a different look. And so, you're thinking about, how do you make something cheaper? How do you create the profit margin? So you have more revenue? Well, you make fibers that are going to be faster and a little cheaper. And then if you want to, okay, let's blend them with something else. It's kind of like, if you're cooking, if you're scrambling eggs, if you want to, you have like 20 people over, you're scrambling eggs and you only have 12 eggs. You're going to put some milk in there probably to help stretch that out. And, it's the same with blending the viscose with other fabrics to, try to stretch out the quality of the natural fibers by blending them with the viscose. The problem that happens is that the natural fibers break down a little bit sooner. And so sometimes you get those little peeling, little balls or fraying and things like that. And then the viscose will be with us for a long, long time. Long time. Probably longer than we will be around. So,
as mentioned, I only pick quality clothing. And never something that is it's also, it's not good for the skin.
No. Well, it's interesting you talk about that, good for the skin and how it feels. And, I can see that your shirt, I can tell that it's a cotton shirt. It just has a different, it's linen. Okay.
Linen. 100%.
Okay. Clothes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clothes.
100% linen?
Still, yeah.
100% linen? Okay.
100%. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
Linen is one of my favorite fibers.
Yeah.
And the feel, and you've mentioned autism, in the introduction, and that is also a challenge too, is that sometimes children that are on the spectrum are having, with some of the man-made fibers, is that they don't feel as well against the body and the skin. And there's sensory issues and challenges that, children have and adults do too. And so having those natural fibers that feel better against the skin is really, really important. It's really important.
Oh, definitely. Speaking about trends and what we see, and with quality and quality over quantity, we do have the social media world.
Yes.
Yes. And with what is being shown there, well, you can imagine all sorts of unhinged trends going on around there.
That's a great way to put it.
So if we move on to the next question, social media is one of the main factors when it comes to trends, and there are some who follow them blindly, but not everything from social media is good. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as an educator, I feel part of my role is to help people to make decisions about the content that they're consuming. To be able to read something, see something on social media, wherever the information, hear it on the news, and then have a critical analysis of it. Does this make sense? Is this true? Is this the best? Should I believe this? And I think it's going to be really, really important now with AI, because so much content is being generated that's AI. You look at it, is that real?
Yeah.
Did they really say that? Is that, or is that fashion really possible? Is that fashion really real? I mean, I follow a couple sites on social media that have, really incredible AI generated fashion, but I can tell that it's AI generated. Just one, because of my background, but some people may not be able to. So, if there's trends, if there's things on social media that people are seeing, learning how to evaluate and decide, is this good? Is this bad? Is this something I should follow or not follow? And that's in any part of life. I just, again, from news to books to blogs to podcasts, the information that you get, you have to be conscious and critical consumers of information.
We have also these influencers that it's the main job nowadays. Everyone can be one. Everyone can be one.
Yes, they can. Funny story. A few years ago, one of my nephews, as I was thinking about starting Innovation Insights and doing some new things, he was like, "You should become a social media influencer."
Oh,
I was like,
really?
And I was like, "What, really?" Yeah. And now I laugh, because I have the podcast. Now I'm out there, making videos. I'm like, oh my goodness, But when he first said it to me, I was like, "Yeah, right." But like you said, there's influencers. There's influencers, and some of them are making great money. But now it's going to be interesting because we have AI influencers.
Yes. Well, it depends what type of influencers you are. We do have many types of influencers, different types of influencers. Some are actually educational. It's for educational purposes. I would say this thing that you and I are doing with the podcasts and with influencing other, but through knowledge, awareness, and education, I would say, because it's when it becomes to mainstream, I think that's where it loses its touch.
Yeah. I agree. It's just such interesting times, isn't it? Because when I started my podcast and went into this, I was like, I was clueless. I did not know what I was doing at all. I was like, I can just jump on Zoom because I'd been a Zoom user for about 10 years before the pandemic and everyone was using Zoom. I was on Zoom probably about 5 or 6 hours a day already. So I was just like, no big deal. I'll just jump on Zoom and I can do a podcast. And then I started realizing, wait. There's more to this. There's so much more to this. And so I also have a new appreciation to people that are influencers and educational influencers and doing a podcast like yours, because it's a lot of work.
Yes.
There's a lot of thought, and it's so technical too. And a lot of people have podcasts, and there's a lot that are fashion related too, but to have that consistency to continue to do it too, because it is a lot of work.
It is. Mm-hmm. I can tell you, after this recording session, I will probably sit for a couple of hours to edit the entire hours of recording. So it's all about consistency, definitely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we have a season 2 of this podcast.
Which is exciting.
Of this podcast, I have a season 2.
It's exciting. That's exciting. Congratulations.
So, thank you. Well, it's when you do things like these podcasts, your own blog, you do not get paid for it. These are payless jobs. It's all about consistency, what you put out there, the content you put out there. So and I'm all about content that is educational, and I do not think that you should pay for educational content. It should be free. That's why my entire podcast, it's free. You can listen to it, and I do not have any sponsors or anything like that, because I think I do not want to turn it into that typical mainstream podcast, you know what I'm saying, with many sponsors, and I start making commercial, for example. Some big shot company. I do not want to be that type of person. I rather focus on the sustainable content.
Yeah, I have not gone down that road either with sponsors or anything, and I just don't even. That's just a whole other level of work, and And then, making sure that you're meeting that type of agreement, that you agree with the sponsor. So, let's say that there was a fashion brand that wanted, to sponsor, you'd have to, really think about the ethics of that company and how they produce what they are selling. And, if it's something that you want to, put your name behind. So,
yeah, definitely. Perfect. You mentioned a bit about AI, artificial intelligence, and how it is taken over. And so if we move on to the next question, what do you think of the aggressive artificial intelligence takeover? Is this the downfall within the fashion business?
No. I am a huge proponent of technology and have been an early adopter throughout my whole life and education. And, the fashion industry sometimes is a bit slower adopter of technology. The industry itself, I've been lucky in academia. Sometimes we're adopting and training our students on technologies that then are then being integrated into industry. But AI, I think I use it. I've built innovation insights using AI. There is no way I could do that business without AI because most of the work I have to do myself. I do have some consultants that work with me. I have a full-time job, and so I don't have the resources to hire staff. I've had some people that I've hired to do some, different parts of the job, but AI is important. And within the fashion industry, it can really help with the processes of getting a product to the consumer and getting what the consumer wants to them. So you can visualize what a product could look like on a consumer. So we're talking about sizing and size ranges and, size 0. If you're a manufacturer, you can produce visually something in a whole size range and get pretty accurate of what it will look like from a size 0 to a size 30 and not have to actually produce each one. And that was also part of the reason why fashion hasn't been as inclusive as it could be over the years is that it costs so much money to make samples or to test garments on a full range of people in different body sizes and types and things like that. And so being able to use AI to do some of that testing up front is going to allow the industry to meet the needs of consumers so that, we can get fashion that people like and need and want.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are lots of opportunities with everything that is being built and that is built. But as long as it is not used to the extreme, I would say. Because this abuse of, using new innovations and using it to the extreme.
Well, and being ethical about how you're using it. Now that we're able to clone individuals and have them talk and speak, we need to be ethical about that. And I know many of the platforms are trying to control that, but I see images or videos of celebrities talking and saying things. I mean, there was like one going around about Will Smith, the actor Will Smith, and him eating spaghetti, and that has been like a huge one on using AI to recreate him eating spaghetti.
Okay.
And it's kind of been like a test of different AI models. And so, you have to be ethical, with how you're using it, with anything.
That's not Will Smith, that's AI Smith.
Is AI Smith eating spaghetti, slurping spaghetti?
Oh my God.
Lots of spaghetti.
Wow. Yeah.
But anytime like some new video generation platform comes out, it seems like that is one of the videos that's being made to kind of test like how good is it, how realistic it is. Like Will Smith eating spaghetti. And I don't know why that evolved to be like, that is the benchmark for video production using AI is if Will Smith can eat spaghetti well.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Well. AI can be both funny and serious.
It can be. But, hopefully Will Smith is fine with his, image being used eating spaghetti. And, at least it's not. But,
yeah. There was actually, I saw a YouTube video. Someone had used, the song Rhythm of the Night, Corona song. Yeah, Corona, mention of coronavirus. Corona. They had made the song that they put Rihanna's voice instead.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can search on it on YouTube. Search for it on YouTube. Rhythm of the Night, Rihanna AI cover, something like that. And yeah, well, it sounded good. It sounded good, to be honest. I mean,
I'm sure it was great.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe Rihanna has an idea now, since the seed has been planted.
Right. Yeah. There's just some people you don't mess with, she has like money, if she got mad, she could sue.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my
so I was like, this is Rihanna back in the 90s.
There's a really funny one right now of Barbie, because we had the Barbie movie come out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And so now there's someone that has been making videos of Barbie. And, she's, Barbie has her fashion icon thing happening.
Yeah.
Barbie is, this Barbie has attitude. I mean, she's like saying profanity. And, and this has a lot of attitude. It's like, oh my gosh. People, will come to her like, we don't like you. You're too perfect. And she's like, blankety blank, blank, blank. I don't care if you don't like me or not.
Okay. This is the Barbie from the block.
Basically. From the block with a lot of attitude. It's like, oh my gosh, Yeah. So it's interesting with AI is people's creativity too. You're just seeing some creativity in some different ways, some very different ways.
Yeah.
Hopefully for good. But
well, it's good that AI is bringing comic relief as well.
Yes, it is. Especially, as we were talking earlier, all the challenges in the world, gosh, it's good to have something to laugh about.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. And, well, you mentioned Barbie. It's a big brand, the Barbie dolls, and they have existed since I can remember. And so when we have mentioned these big brands in the fashion business and the way they are leading the fashion business, and we have those brands who are abusing their power, if I might add it that harshly, just because, they are big brands. And so if we move on to the next question, then there are big brands within the fashion business that are using forced labor and even child labor. What are your thoughts on that?
Unacceptable. And the thing is, the fashion industry has a long history of using forced labor, child labor. And in the United States, the whole textile industry was built on slave labor. And other countries it has been too. I mean, so that has been a problem with fashion and in many institutions, using people in a harmful way to create beautiful products, beautiful buildings, beautiful businesses, things like that. So People need to be aware of it. They need to investigate. They need to think about, and that's one of the challenges with fashion. We want fast, cheap clothing, but how is that cheap clothing being made? Where is it being made? Are people being paid? Well, are people in safe environments? Is the environment safe that they're working in? Are they getting breaks? Are they paid fair labor? Are they healthy in their work environments and things? And so, you've mentioned quality. Quality takes longer time. It costs more money. But if we focus on that instead of more, that will also help. Consumers have power in stopping this. They can speak with their dollars. I mean, we've seen that in the United States recently, where groups of individuals have boycotted big brands, big retailers, and it sends a message. So if you hurt someone financially in their dollars, that will send a message. So if we as consumers quit buying fast fashion or spending money with retailers that are not ethically producing their products, that will help stop that.
Yeah, there are big retailers and big brands. It's unquestionable. I mean, we are talking about children's lives, forced labor. It's inhumane. It's just inhumane, pure and simple.
It is, and that's so people need to think about where's your clothing coming from, because the companies aren't going to stop unless consumers have the power to stop it. So consumer education, asking, where's my garment coming from? Why can I buy this t-shirt for $3? And does that make sense to be able to buy, because you can barely buy a soda for $3 at this point. So, and that's something consumable, and generally, something that's, you drink or eat is a little bit cheaper than something that you wear and that should last you a while. So, if you can buy a piece of clothing for the same amount of money that you're buying something to eat or drink, you should question that and wonder, like, is this getting, who was harmed?
Yes.
In creating this.
Who was harmed? What was harmed? It's, many big retailers and brands, they have been criticized because of that. Because, you do not do that. So,
but they're not going to stop.
No.
They're not, you can criticize, but, if they're not getting hit financially. There's not going to be change. There's just not going to be change.
We are talking about a quite disturbing pattern of financial. It's only money talks, bullshit walks.
That is true. That is so true. That is a good one. That is a good one. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now you can use that so quote.
I will. I mean, that was a good one. That is a really good one. My father used to always say, "Oh, quote of the day." That is the quote of the day.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. Now we have established during this Q&A, we have established about the social media being one of the main factors when it comes to trends, those who follow them blindly. And we have also established about artificial intelligence, AI, and about big brands within the fashion business that are using forced labor and even child labor. So then if we move on to the next question, then also within the influencer field, I would say probably. So here is the next question. Public figures are also trendsetters, and some trends makes you question the morality of these so-called trendsetters. But there are those who follow them blindly. There is no reflection of the negativity of trends that are plain bad. What are your thoughts on that?
Again, you just got to be a conscious, critical consumer of what you see in information. And if you think about celebrities that are basically influencers fashion wise, oftentimes they have a stylist. And so sometimes they aren't making the choices of what they're wearing, and they should be. So sometimes you might see someone who's like, whoa, so many celebrities, many people, actually, so a lot of everyday people have stylists who are helping them choose what they are wearing. And part of the reason why is because our clothing does communicate so much about us, our brand, our personal brand. And so there's a lot of thought that goes into that sometimes, oftentimes, especially by people that are out in the public figure or are public figures and out in the public domain. And so having a stylist help make those decisions and think about what I'm wearing is communicating. Now, sometimes go off kilter, as you mentioned, sometimes, the style might make you question the person's ethics or morality and things like that.
Yeah.
And again, the wearer needs to think about that. The stylist that's working with them needs to think about that. And all of us do. All of us do. One of my areas working in the fashion industry is the communicative value of fashion. And, part of Innovation Insights is that storytelling. Well, part of that story is also being told with what you wear, what you wear on a job interview, what you wear every day, what you wear on camera, what you wear, when you're going to the grocery store, what do you wear when you're at the market or, walking down the street. It's all communicating something about you, and people are visually seeing you, and then their brain is processing that and then making a story, a narrative about you. You're being judged. You're being judged basically by what you wear and what you look like, and we all do it. We all do that. It's not necessarily a negative thing that we're being judged. We just have to be aware that we're being judged by how we look, what we wear, our fashion, good or bad.
Yeah.
It's sending messages to people, and people are interpreting those messages. You might not even understand it too. And so we also have to realize that we may not understand the reason why someone wore such. There might be some meaning or symbolism that we don't understand.
Yeah. And we have many public figures that when they wear something, it's due to symbolism. They want to say something, make a statement with their clothing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, this was many years ago, though, but I was in high school when this was going on, when this was going viral. What did you think of? We have, for example, Lady Gaga's meat dress. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone.
Yes, and that's why she wore it. That is why she wore it. It was a conscious decision. She was establishing her brand. She was a newer artist. She was trying to get attention. And so, and you'll see this with new musical artists quite often. They will wear something outrageous or present themselves in a very memorable, outrageous way so that you are remembered. Yeah.
I can tell you I used to be a Lady Gaga fan. Past tense, used. But I thought that, her music was lacking something in her later years. She always went with the same theme. You could predict what she was going to have in her albums or on her albums.
So you felt like it was very formulaic or very, like, okay, this is what works to sell an album.
So, and I mean, the beginning of her career, we had the Fame album. That was cute, innocent. It was it was some party songs in it. I liked it. I thought it was nice. We had the Fame Monster. Okay, a bit more dramatic album. And okay, well, she wanted to, start with something new and fresh, understandable. And then we had the Born This Way album, and I thought, yeah, it's a good message. Born This Way, you are born this way. I would say I started losing interest as a fan when she released her album Art Pop.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's when I thought, she's doing the same theme. This is what I saw in Born This Way. This is what I saw in The Fame Monster.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the challenges with the music industry too, is that sometimes the artists, they're locked into contracts, and the company that they're signed with has said, okay, you need to produce 10 albums, and and this is what's working and selling, and so. That's something that I am a huge fan of Prince or Prince Rogers Nelson. Are you familiar with Prince?
Yeah,
the artist.
Yeah, Prince.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Who doesn't know Prince?
Well, there's some people that don't. Well, I love Prince. I mean, to the point that the day he passed away, I was getting text messages of condolences to me. You would have thought I was like a family member because I, loved him so much. But, that was something that he really talked about a lot too, was with, the pressures of the music industry. And again, we're talking about big brands that are controlling how artists kind of, similar to what we see in fashion, are producing their work. So, but yeah, I love they talk about fashion.
Yeah, we talk about fashion, but this is just a sidetrack, side bump.
Yeah, but Prince was very fashionable.
Yes, and he had sass. And every interview, when I listen to his interviews, they are just fabulous. But he does it in a classy manner, like when he just pointed out that some artists are just products, or they just let others write their songs, but he write his own songs, and I was like, damn.
Yes. So eloquent. Oh, yeah.
I was like, well, you got him there, Prince.
Yeah, amazingly talented.
Yeah, and so it's but I mean, he's from a different type of generation, of a musical generation. Like today's artists, I would not say that they can hold the same standard as the artists that were before their time.
Yeah.
It's completely different. Completely different.
It is.
And hey,
we've lost in the last few years some amazing musical artists too. So.
We have many influential ones, really good, great influential ones.
Yeah. And you're a musician, aren't you?
I am.
So when I have you on my podcast, we'll have to talk about that.
Absolutely. I would be honored. Talk about music, an episode about music, the topic music.
Yeah. That would be good. We haven't had one.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, that was just a side track. We are gonna stick to the topic, fashion, but hey, fashion and music, they go hand in hand, right?
They do. We do. You said fashion and society, I mean, it's part of, there's so many aspects of fashion throughout society.
Definitely. Now, society, music, it's definitely from many aspects.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking if we move on to the next question, then, when given advice about trends from people in the leading field within the fashion business, what should you be careful of and what should you avoid?
Well, I feel like you need to make sure it aligns with your values. I think that's just first off, and with everything, so if you're getting some fashion advice, making sure it aligns with your values, and because if you're not standing strong with your values, then I mean, what do you have? So that would be my advice. How does it align with your values? If someone tells you, well, you need to wear a shorter skirt, will that align with my values? Or I need to wear a longer skirt, does that align with my values? And then also, if it's going to look good on you too, and are you going to feel comfortable in it, both physically and psychologically? I mean, there's those two areas of comfort, and fashion plays into both of those. And so are you physically comfortable and psychologically comfortable with that fashion choice?
We have established public figures that are also trendsetters, and how some trends makes you question the morality of the trend setting. We have also now established about when given trends from people in the leading field within the fashion business, and what you should be careful of and what you should avoid. And we have had an interesting discussion so far. I think the listeners will be very intrigued to listen to this episode and this discussion. I certainly think so. So if we move on to the next question then, certain body shapes are also a trend, and there are people in the leading field within the fashion business that already has a perspective on how body types should be, even if it is bad. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I truly believe that we need to be more accepting. And as I'd mentioned earlier, we do see more acceptance now of various body types, and humans are not cookie cutters. We're very different in many, many ways, and our preferences, our needs, our wants, our body shapes and types. And so, that is I feel going to be one of the advantages of AI, is that people are going to be able to get clothing and fashion that meets their needs a little bit easier. Their body type fits better, their aesthetic preferences, things like that. So, the long gone, I mean, yes, there's still brands and businesses and individuals holding on to this is the ideal body. There's not an ideal body, because there's, 8 billion people on the planet. They all have different bodies. So
yeah,
there's 8 billion different body types and body standards. So, and that's always been the fascinating and the fun part of fashion for me is, fitting garments to various body types and those techniques, because it's truly an art if you can fit a variety of different bodies. Sure, it's, clothes look great on a size 0, as we talked earlier. They just hang, and that's fun and fine, but it's so much easier to do clothing for that size. So if you really want a challenge, is how do you make something look good and exciting for a variety of different body types? And I mean, there's so many opportunities and challenges, and that should be exciting to designers. It's like, okay, let me take this on. Let me make this person that is a size 24 feel wonderful in their clothing. And I have to give props out to Kristen Siriano. He's a designer here in the United States, and he was on Project Runway.
Yeah.
He has really just, he's just killed it with being inclusive with his design work, and really featuring and Hollywood celebrities that do not fit the typical size range.
Yeah.
He was one of the first ones that just like, I'm dressing people, a variety of people, and making them feel great and look beautiful.
Yeah.
So kudos to him.
Yeah. No, they showed that, or they do show the series. They showed. I do not know if the series is still going. Project Runway.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. Yeah, I think it still is. And I think he's one of the guest hosts now on there.
Who is it now?
Kristen Siriano. He's a designer.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he won it one season, and then now he's one of the hosts. But he also, is running his business, which is just, he's dressing. He dresses everybody, shape and type, and height, and just beautiful. And the thing is, and he does photos. He does regular Photoshop. So he does, he has, someone on his team is doing candid photos, and the people seem happy, with what they're wearing. So
now it was when Heidi Klum was in the jury, right? When he won.
Yeah. I think so.
I always remember her signature when she said goodbye to everyone. Auf Wiedersehen. Always Auf Wiedersehen. Always her signature goodbye on German. I was like, that's good. Yeah. That's great, Heidi.
Yeah. Oh, Heidi. Yeah, she's had quite the career too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well, she takes Halloween very serious.
Oh, she does. Okay, now we have to look her up for Halloween and see what she does.
Oh, you have to. I mean, you have to. Really.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah, it is. Well, she surprises everyone. She brings shock value to Halloween.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, now I'm really curious.
Must take hours though for her stylists and management and all.
Okay, as soon as we finish this, I'm gonna start.
You have to
searching for
what was she dressed? Halloween. What was she dressed in last year? Did she dress up? Did she even dress up last year? Didn't she? What did she dress up as? Yeah, was it E.T.? I think it was E.T.
E.T.? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she dressed up as E.T. I think I'm seeing E.T. pictures here. USA Today. Heidi Klum, Halloween crazy. 2024. E.T.
E.T. That is amazing.
Yeah, well, that's Heidi for you.
Wow.
I'm just thinking about the hours it must have took to,
Yeah, it was like been a day.
Yeah. I do not know what would I have been dressed as if I was going to go to a Halloween party or a gala. Maybe something. I will just maybe put some makeup on my face or something like that. The usual.
I have a witch's hat I used to wear, and then some fake eyelashes, and carry a broom. That I used to carry that around.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, that's why she's Heidi Klum. That's what she's known for.
Yeah.
So perfect. Then we can move on to the next questions. We have a couple of more questions left. And if we move on to the next question, well, this is not a question then, it's just a sidetrack. But do you usually shop online or do you go to a physical store? What do you prefer?
After I moved to Iowa, I spent most of my time really shopping online for a couple of reasons. Locally, there was not the clothes that I wanted, the styles that I wanted. And also I'm aging, my body's changing. So being able to order online was one way to do that. And then also time wise, when I was in some really a little bit more time pressure administrative roles, I didn't have time just to go shopping. And so to be able to shop online, it was convenient. I could do it late night if I wasn't sleeping or something, get things, have them shipped to me. And it was just a major convenience. And then now since the pandemic, well, one, I don't shop as much. And then it's like, it's really online.
I do not think that you are the only one. I think everyone uses online shopping nowadays. I'm guilty, for example.
Oh yeah. I mean, I even have my groceries now delivered. I shop online for those.
You have that as well. Oh, yeah. We have it here
I
as
do.
well.
I started that during the pandemic some, and I would drive and go pick it up. But now I have them delivered just to save time because I just, working full time and then doing innovation insights and then caring for my mom, having just even driving across town to pick them up, so I just have them delivered, and it just helps save a lot of time.
Yeah, and understandable. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and you do everything. I would say. I mean, you have many things on your plate. That you do. That is time offering. That offers quite a lot of time, which is understandable. If we move on to the next question, then. What are your thoughts on online stores? Is it the downfall of physical stores?
It's going to impact physical stores, absolutely. And so physical stores have to think differently. You have to have an online presence. You have to. And I believe every retail store needs to. Every business, every person that's wanting to have a brand, and they need to have their own website, their own social media. And so, you think about, Blockbuster. Did you guys have Blockbuster?
No,
where you rented?
we did. We do not, or we did not. I know it was a physical. It existed in the 90s, so I've heard it brings up a lot of memories to 90s kids. I am a 90s kid.
Yeah, it does.
Millennial.
Because, you would go. Yeah. And because it was a whole thing that you would go to Blockbuster on like a Friday night.
Yeah.
The thing is time, talking about time, you go to Blockbuster, spend an hour looking for movies.
Yes.
I mean, it was a whole event.
I know.
Spending, all that time looking for movies. Then you get it, and then you'd have it for like 2 nights.
Yes.
Or something.
Rental movies.
And you have to get it watched, So, so if you didn't get there in time, you got there too late, and you got home, you're too tired, like, oh crap, I got to watch this movie because I got to take it back, in 2 days. If you didn't take it back, then you got this huge fine.
Yeah.
And if Blockbuster had, there's, tons of case studies about Blockbuster and Netflix. And I was reading one the other day, about, the founding of Netflix and why it came about. But Blockbuster, if they have been kind of futurist and kind of think about what's happening in the future and streaming and all that, they'd still be around. So fashion retailers also need to think, online shopping is not going away. And I remember when online shopping first started, people were like, oh no, people are not going to shop online. They're going to want to feel the fabric first, or they're going to want to try it on. But now you can virtually try on and everything. So if retailers aren't thinking about how do I get my products online, how do I engage consumers online, they're not. Their retail, the brick and mortar is not going to be around. I mean, there's still going to want to be that experience of going. Yeah, but it's going to have to be. It's just usually going to be a destination and around some other type of experience of going into a retail store. Yeah.
Now I'm reading now about Blockbuster. Apparently, we have a company called SF Anytime. SF is for svensk filmindustri in Swedish movie industry, if you translate it to English. And apparently there is a Danish version of Blockbuster. It says that the meaning of the word Blockbuster was founded in the US under the 1950s. But apparently it's a Danish brand now. And it's, this company, the Swedish company that I mentioned, they have apparently bought the brand Blockbuster. So it now exists in Sweden. I did not even know about this.
That's interesting.
But it will not probably be as good as US Blockbuster, but...
Well, I mean, yeah, US was good, but then, when you like, oh, wow, I can just have Netflix email me the DVD.
Yeah.
And then I can keep it as long as I want.
Yeah.
And then when I'm ready to be done with it, I can just put it in an envelope and I don't have to pay for shipping to ship it back. I mean, time wise, I mean, literally, we would go to Blockbuster and spend at least an hour looking for movies.
Yes.
And if you're like going with your family, you had to then have a family meeting and decide.
Yeah.
What movie to rent?
I
mean, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was like negotiation and decisions, and it might be a 2-hour event just to get your movie.
Yes, no, it was a different vibe when renting movies back in the day. I mean, we did not have Blockbuster or the brand Blockbuster, but we had other stores with that you could rent movies from, and you rented the movie for the weekend, and then you just returned it on Monday, and that's that.
Yeah.
And you had to watch it during the weekend, and always brought popcorn or any different chips or snacks or whatever. And you just sat in front of the TV and spent a wonderful time just watching a movie together with the family, or oh, it was.
And that's what the thing that's missing, I think, is that like it was an event that the family did together. And now, with Netflix, it's like, well, oh geez, it's always on. You can always
on the phone.
Yeah. You don't have to have it as being a family event of watching a movie. It can be independent by yourself, or
Here in Sweden, to hush their children, they give them their phones. Some parents.
It happens here in the U.S. too. Or I mean, I've seen some kids with iPads, like the baby, or there's baby iPads and things too. Like, oh,
yeah, and it can be on the metro, it can be on the bus. As they just start making a sound, and they just give them the iPad or the iPhone, and I'm like, okay, different way of raising up your children nowadays. My time, it was you either listen or you get nothing, though. like something like that. Yeah. Like it was really, you had to listen to your parents.
Yeah. You told you be quiet. Like, okay, I'm quiet. I'm just gonna sit here.
I'm just gonna sit here. Do and say nothing.
My thoughts. Do and say nothing. Sit here in my thoughts and just dream or something.
Oh yeah. I think that's what's missing nowadays, the quality time that we all used to spend together. I mean, for example, this situation of renting movies, you did it as a social thing. And nowadays you have, here in Sweden, we do not have analog TV since, since 2020, since four years ago, I think. But it's only TV hubs now. So you can buy rental movies from the TV hub now, or the TV hubs. So it's you do not even have to go to a store. You do not even have to choose Netflix. You can just the TV hub and the
and then get it that way.
So it's that way now. More comfort to everyone.
I mean, it's all about convenience. It's always, this about, and humans are, I mean, we're great in many ways, but we're going to figure out how to make things as convenient for ourselves as we can.
And as mentioned, the use of these, we should use it carefully. It should not be abused.
I know. It should not be, but sometimes we do, because we want it convenient for ourselves.
Perfect. Then we can move on to that. This was just a sidetrack, but I mean, reminiscing about the past is not that bad. sometimes. Some things maybe, but some things were actually memorable. Yeah. So if we move on to the next question, then what are your thoughts on aggressive surgery trends? I do not know. Have you seen any surgery trends circulating?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Going
Again,
under the
it's about
knife and
appearance.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, that's another unfortunate side of the fashion industry is that there is a pressure for, again, this ideal body, or ideal body type, or ideal features. And, there's certain groups or cultures that, really embrace this and decide that, surgery is the way to gain that. And then also there's ageism too, that, to look young is important. And, of course, it's, it has to align with your values, again, those personal values, but then also just making sure that you're being safe and that you're working with someone that's ethical, that's just not trying to cut or mold you into something that you shouldn't be. So
just using you as an experiment.
Yeah, which I think we've seen instances of that and examples. And so just, being guided by your values, I think is so important when thinking about, things like that and surgeries and then just making sure you're being safe, because doing your research, making sure that you're researching if you do decide to go that,
Yes.
the background of the doctor, but also self-esteem and accepting, who you are is important,
Yeah, the self-esteem issue is it's a very big issue. And we have also in Sweden, with mental illness, suicides that are, increasing. It seems that the politicians or the today's leading people are not willing to discuss about that. Rather discuss something else, that is more, it's not focused on mental health or,
which is unfortunate because it is truly a challenge globally. People are stressed. They're stressed. They're sad. They want to be connected. I feel that we're still seeing impacts from the pandemic, and people are going like, oh yeah, the pandemic. Oh, that was so 2020. Oh no, yeah. I mean, there's still impact from it.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not fashionable to even talk about the pandemic, but it has impacted us in so many ways, and people still need to recognize that we're different than we were prior to that.
We lived in a completely different way, more free. We were more free, and and then COVID-19 came in at the end of 2019, right? But it didn't affect globally until the 2020s.
Well, and we were talking about shopping. I wasn't an online shopper that much. I did a little bit, for some clothing and things like that, but so much more after the pandemic. I mean, that really changed that. It changed my fashion. It's just really impacted so many things.
Yeah, definitely. Perfect. Then we can move on. Thinking if we have just a few questions left, so if we can wrap this up. Yeah, if we move on to the next question, then what do you think is a healthy lifestyle? Great question. Say.
Yeah, it is a great question. I would say being at peace with yourself and accepting. The older I get, the more I value that. Gratitude, being grateful and thankful for what you have is so important.
Definitely.
So I think that's a big part of a healthy is gratitude for what you do have.
I think you mentioned it perfectly. I do not think there is anything else that needs to be said. I think the listeners will definitely agree with you on that part. Yeah, no, really, gratitude. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've found in my life when I'm not as grateful for what I have, I'm probably not as happy. But when I just sit back and be like, I'm really lucky to have this. I'm lucky to have that. And then also just realizing that we're here just temporarily, and maybe it's just me getting old now, but
it has nothing to do with age.
I mean, there was a time when I was like this morning. I was early morning, I was posting some things for Innovation Insights. And I was like, oh, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. And then I was like, but then to remember 100 years from now, is it going to impact anyone? Or even next year, is it going to really impact someone or next week, will it really impact anyone if I don't get this posted? This little, there are little video clips from the podcast. If this isn't up at, my said time, because I schedule them out, at 9 o'clock on all the channels, is this going to impact someone's life? No. Is it going to matter next week? Is anyone going to be like, well, and if they are, well, they probably have too much to worry about. So just, remember, like, well, Eulanda didn't get these out at 9 o'clock, every day. If anyone sees them, I'm just grateful at this point that someone just even sees anything I post.
Yeah.
There's so much out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. There is.
So I'm like, oh, so one person saw it. Yay! Just say that, being grateful for things and just taking some of the pressure off of ourselves is part of being happy, and realizing that, if we're not hurting someone, we're doing okay. We're doing okay.
I think that's a perfect answer for that question. And then we can move on to the very last question. We have reached the very last question of this interview.
Okay.
Yes. So here it is. How would your society be in accordance to trends, lifestyles, and other trend-setting point of views in general?
My society.
Yes.
So if I had like my perfect society.
Yes.
Okay. Well, one, there would be laughter and
Think
smiles.
of something clever.
Oh gosh. Oh, pressure. No, my society, there'd be laughter and fun and innovation and creativity and people just being nice to people and supporting people. That would be my society. Yeah. And lots of good, good food, good wine, good beverages, good, and, great fashion, but also just, just some fun. And,
sounds like a dream.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Just enjoy the good things.
Make it.
Yeah, let's make it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Who can stop us?
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of positivity and humans just liking humans and saying nice things to each other and about each other. Yeah.
I'll definitely just have a positive mindset, a positive outlook, and be kind always. Always, depending though how the person is. I mean, if it's someone you cannot talk properly to.
Well, then
but
just
still be kind to that.
I'm getting old. Be kind, but then also remove them from your life if you have to.
Yeah.
I've gotten old, and so if someone's not nice to me, I don't need to. I'm to this point where I just don't need to have them in my life. And I wish I would have been that smart when I was younger. When I was your age or younger, then we're like, oh, this person's not nice. Okay, I don't have to sit here and try to make them like me or have them in my life. Now I'm just like, well, they're not nice.
Yeah, no time for drama.
I don't need them in my life.
No time for drama.
I don't have time for drama. I don't have energy for it. I have less years ahead of me than I have behind me. And I want to spend those years not dealing with stuff that I don't want to deal with.
Yeah. How old do you think I am? So. It's just a sidetrack question.
Oh, you're a young one. I would say early 40s.
Oh, early 40s. Okay. 31.
Oh, you're 31. I'm so
it's
sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
It's your mature. Okay, it's your maturity.
It is. You know what? That's what I'm always hearing. It's my maturity. The way I speak, the way I am, they are like, you must be around this age. I'm like, I'm 31. And they are like, wait a minute, what? It's okay. We had quite a laugh.
I'm so
It's
sorry.
okay. It's okay.
I know. Oh my gosh. No, yeah, you're so young. You're like young. You have so much ahead of you,
Baby,
which is
right?
exciting. You're a baby, absolutely. Because like I said, I'm 58 years old. Still not a baby. Still not a baby.
Yeah. Well, I'll take the maturity. I'll take it as a compliment. Maturity.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely do. Absolutely do. Absolutely do. Yeah. I mean, could you carry yourself? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like a good adult, like a responsible adult. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, there is no time for drama. If there are people in your life that you cannot reach out to properly, or that are just looking to either way to either stab you in the back or to just find something to argue about, remove them permanently. You do not have any time for that at all.
Yeah.
Life is too short to be arguing and being mean, and it's just
and to use. I've been very trusting. Some people will say, my family would say, you don't trust anyone. Like, no, I have been. I've been probably too trusting, and probably have been used at times when I shouldn't have been.
That's a hard thing. I used to hear the opposite, that I was too naive, but no, it depends on what age. Maybe if you would have asked Joseph over 10 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that, I would have looked at the world with different eyes. But now, after everything I have seen, I have heard until this day, and I'm still learning. I mean, I'm still seeing and hearing things, and so it's not over, not by a long shot. But with the things that I have heard and seen to this day, I definitely got a different outlook on life. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, your generation, I mean, you went through the pandemic at, your young adult life too.
Yeah.
I mean, and that really did impact, I feel, your generation, because, I mean, oh my goodness, to go through, one example of things, I mean, just really impactful.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be fun, Joseph, to watch you as you continue to evolve and take on the world and
thank you,
impact and make changes, and
thank you.
It'll be fun.
And the same. It's gonna be fun watching you too. I think you have pretty interesting conversations on your podcast and interesting guests. And as mentioned, I will probably. I'm looking forward to, if you do invite me to.
I will.
I'm looking forward to it.
Will.
So be a great pleasure.
I will.
Definitely. And with that said, that was the very last question of this episode about the topic fashion. I'm really recommending everyone, or not recommending, I'm telling you, not recommend, I'm telling you, you should listen to Eulanda Sanders' podcast, Innovation Insights. Look into her site, www.innovation-and-insights.com. There is a link in the description. I think you will find many inspiring things, definitely. I have, so far with what I have seen and heard, I felt inspired. I still feel inspired. So, yeah. So thank you, Eulanda, for taking your time all the way from the US, my very first international guest. So thank you for taking your time being on this podcast, Society and Stuff, and of this episode about the topic fashion.
Well, thank you for having me. It's just been delightful, and you have been such a gracious host, and it's just been fun. And so thank you. I'm so glad that you reached out. We were in a Facebook group together, well, a couple of them now, together. And you had mentioned that you were looking for a podcast. I'm so thankful that I jumped in and answered you.
You gotta take a chance in your life from time to time.
Yeah, you do.
When I entered the Facebook group, I just took a chance. I was like, let's see if I can find someone who works within fashion. And when you answered, I was like, wow, this is great. Like, I really want to invite you to the podcast episode about fashion. And now I have, and now we have had this Q&A, this interview. Yeah. So
thank you.
You have a good one. And And who was it who got married last year? I did not did I say congratulations?
Oh, my niece.
Your niece. I must go ahead and say congratulations are in order. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is it 1 year anniversary now, or?
Yeah, it's coming up. It's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. So you have a good one, and goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thanks.